So let's say we are multiplying 16 by 12 times. Instead of using the area method, which will take a long time for us to do, we can use the other method called the grid method. Let me first show you the area method, and then we are going to do the grid method beside it. So over here, we are going to do the area method, and then over here, we're going to use the grid method. So using the area method, we draw a rectangle that has a size of 16 by 12 squares, and then we count the total number of squares inside the rectangle that we have created. So let me just draw a rectangle here that has 16 squares as its length and 12 squares for its height. So let me just draw the lines here. And what we are creating is we're trying to draw the squares inside this rectangle, which is 16 squares by 12 squares high. Then after we do all of this, we're going to count all the squares inside this rectangle. So you see, using the area method requires us a lot of work. Okay, we are nearly done here, and we are done. So we were able to draw a rectangle that is 16 squares long and 12 squares high. So if we count all the squares inside this rectangle, which we are not going to do right now because it's going to take us a long time, what we're going to find out is there are 192 squares inside this rectangle. So what that means is 16 times 12 is equal to 192. And using the area method, in order to find this answer, we have to count all these squares one by one until we finally count 192 squares. And that's going to take a long time to do. Now let's do the grid method. To use the grid method, we just draw a rectangle that's similar to what we did in the area method. So let me just draw a rectangle here that's close to what we did in the area method. And this rectangle also has a length of 16 squares and a height of 12 squares. Now instead of drawing all the squares inside this rectangle, we are going to draw regions using the places and values of our numbers that we're multiplying. So what we do is we convert these numbers into their expanded form. So 16 becomes 10 plus 6, and 12 becomes 10 plus 2. Next, we are going to draw regions in this rectangle that represent the different place and place values of our numbers. So let's say this region represents the rectangle that has a length of 10 and a length of 6. And then this region over here, I'm going to draw a line, represents a rectangle that has a height of 10 and a height of 2. So the new rectangle looks like this, which has sides of 10 and 6 and 10 plus 2. And we have drawn regions based on the places like tens and 1. After that, we can multiply the lengths of the sides of the rectangle per region to know the area of each of the regions, or how many squares there are in each region. So to get the area of this region, that's just 10 times 10, which is 100. To get the area or number of squares in this region, you just have to multiply 6 by 10, which is equal to 60. To get the area of this region, you just multiply 10 and 2, which is 20. And to get the area of this region, we just multiply 6 and 2, which is 12. So now that we know the area of each of the regions, to get the total area, or to get the total number of squares in this big rectangle, what we do is we just add all the areas. So that's 100 plus 60 plus 20 plus 12. And then we're going to use the standard algorithm to add all these numbers. So 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 2 is 2. 0 plus 6 plus 2 plus 1 is 9. And 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 1. So we get the answer of 192. So using the grid method, we could know without that much work as compared to the area method that 16 times 12 is equal to 192. Now again, the grid method is just like the area method. The only thing is that it's just a lot easier to do the grid method as compared to the area method. So if we create regions in our rectangle that has its squares inside of it drawn, so we're just going to create the regions in the rectangle of the area method, similar to what we have on the grid method's rectangle. So this region has 6 squares in length, and it also has 10 squares in length for this side of that region, of that rectangle. And then let's draw another region here representing the 2, which is the height of this region over here. And then this part of this rectangle would have a height of 10. Now, if you count all the squares in each of these regions, in this region, you're going to have 100 squares. In this region, you're going to have 60 squares, just like the ones we got in the grid method. In this region, you're going to have 20 squares, just like this one. And in this region, you would find that there are 12 squares, just like this one. So again, the grid method is very convenient since there is no need for us to draw up many squares and then count each square individually, because we can accurately find out the area of each region by just simply multiplying the length of the different rectangles formed during the decomposition of the numbers that we are multiplying. If you found this video helpful, give us a like or a thumbs up. We will really appreciate it. Also, watch our other math help videos and playlists that we made for you. Keep on learning.